218 seconds, 3 minutes and 38 seconds. The new record. Benny Thompson held a DHS document destruction log above his head and asked the question that would produce the longest silence in congressional hearing history. Mr. Miller, between March 11th and March 19th of this year, 847 boxes of DHS policy documents were removed from secure storage and sent to a private document destruction company. The destruction was authorized as routine records disposal. But those boxes contained active files, investigation files, files that were subpoenaed by this committee 2 weeks earlier. So I have a very simple question. Who ordered the destruction of subpoenaed documents? Miller's face went completely still, not shocked, not defensive, still, like someone who had just been asked the one question he had spent months hoping would never come. His lead attorney's hand froze on his legal pad. His second attorney stood up halfway, then sat back down, as though standing would only make it worse. And Thompson, the man who chaired the January 6th committee, the man who spent 2 years investigating document destruction and obstruction, had not even mentioned the smoking gun email yet. The hearing was listed as oversight of DHS records management and compliance protocols. The most boring title possible. It did not work. Every investigative journalist in Washington had a crew there because Thompson does not hold hearings about records management unless someone destroyed records they should not have touched. Miller had not prepared for someone who spent 2 years investigating document destruction, witness tampering, and obstruction of congressional investigations. He had not prepared for Benny Thompson. The first 40 minutes were procedural. Miller gave competent answers. He cited the Federal Records Act. He looked comfortable, almost bored. Then Thompson took the microphone and the room temperature dropped. Mr. Miller. His voice was calm and steady, the voice of someone who has done this before and knows exactly how it ends. The National Archives and Records Administration has strict guidelines for federal records disposal. Agencies must submit disposal schedules, get approval, document everything. A careful process designed to prevent exactly what I am about to describe. He opened a folder. This is a document destruction authorization form from March 11th of this year. It requests immediate disposal of 847 boxes of materials from the DHS Office of Policy. That is your office, Mr. Miller. The form states the materials are expired temporary records eligible for routine destruction under approved disposal schedule. He set it down. Sounds routine. Sounds legitimate. Except for one problem. He pulled out a second document. This is a congressional subpoena issued by this committee on February 24th, 15 days before your destruction request. The subpoena demands all documents, emails, memoranda, and files related to border encounter statistical methodology, emergency funding authorizations, and contractor procurement processes. He looked up. Mr. Miller, the 847 boxes you destroyed contain exactly those materials. Files that were under active congressional subpoena. Did you know about the subpoena when you authorized the destruction? Miller leaned forward. Congressman, records management decisions involve coordination with multiple offices. The General Counsel, the Records Officer, and ARA liaisons. I personally do not. I am going to stop you right there. Thompson held up his hand. I spent 2 years investigating people who destroyed subpoenaed documents. I know every excuse, every deflection, every claim of bureaucratic complexity. And I know what it looks like when someone is lying. He pulled out a third document. This is an email from your deputy to DHS Records Officer. Date, March 9th. 2 days before the destruction. Subject, urgent records disposal request. He read from it. Mr. Miller has requested immediate authorization for disposal of policy office materials. Please expedite approval and arrange contractor pickup by end of week. Time sensitive. He set it down. Time sensitive. Why was destroying these records time sensitive, Mr. Miller? What was the urgency? Miller's attorney tried to interject. Routine records management often operates on specific timelines due to storage. The records were subpoenaed. Thompson's voice did not rise. It did not need to. They were under congressional demand. There is no storage timeline that overrides a subpoena. None. He pulled out a fourth document. Mr. Miller, on March 6th, 3 days before your deputy sent that urgent email, the DHS General Counsel sent you a memo. Subject, Congressional Subpoena Compliance Requirements. He held it up. This memo specifically states that your office must preserve all materials related to border statistics, funding, and contracting. It lists the exact categories from the subpoena, and it ends with this sentence. He read slowly. No materials in these categories may be destroyed, transferred, or altered until the subpoena is fully satisfied and this office provides written clearance. He looked at Miller. You received that memo on March 6th. Your deputy sent the urgent destruction request on March 9th. 3 days later. The destruction happened on March 11th, 5 days after you were explicitly told to preserve those materials. The room went completely silent. Thompson continued. I subpoenaed the destruction company's records. He held up their pickup log. On March 11th, a contractor arrived at DHS headquarters at 6:47 a.m. before most staff arrived. They loaded 847 boxes onto 3 trucks. By 9 a.m., every single page was shredded, destroyed, unrecoverable. Mr. Miller, someone wanted those documents gone fast. Before this committee could enforce a subpoena, before anyone could see what was in those boxes, who ordered the destruction? Miller opened his mouth. Nothing came out. His attorney whispered something urgent. Miller shook his head, and that is when the silence started. Thompson pulled out his phone, opened the stopwatch, held it up. Mr. Miller, I am going to time this, because the American people deserve to know how long you will sit here protecting whoever destroyed evidence under congressional subpoena. He pressed start. 10 seconds. Miller's hands flat on the table, perfectly still. 20 seconds. His attorney writing something, crossing it out, writing again. 30 seconds. 40. Miller said nothing. 50 seconds. Thompson stood up, still holding the stopwatch. Mr. Miller, I chaired the January 6th committee. We investigated document destruction. We investigated obstruction. We investigated people who thought they could hide evidence from Congress. He walked slowly toward the witness table. It did not work then. It will not work now. 60 seconds. 1 full minute. You destroyed 847 boxes of subpoenaed materials. Someone gave that order. Someone knew those documents were under congressional demand and destroyed them anyway. Who was it? 70 seconds. Miller's jaw clenched. The cameras caught it. 80 seconds. Thompson checked the stopwatch. Mr. Miller, I have seen this before. The silence. The refusal to answer. The belief that you can just wait it out. He stopped walking. You cannot. Because I have the email. He pulled out one more document. March 10th. The day before the destruction. An email from you to your deputy. Subject, tomorrow's pickup. He held it up to the camera. Confirmed contractor is scheduled for 6:45 a.m. Make sure security has access list. I want this completed before 8 a.m. No delays. He set it down. You did not just authorize the destruction, Mr. Miller. You scheduled it. You made sure it happened early, before anyone could intervene. 100 seconds. You signed your name to it. Your instructions. Your timeline. 120. 2 full minutes. 130. Thompson nodded. The law is clear. 18 U.S.C. 1519. Destruction of documents to obstruct investigation. 20-year maximum sentence. 140. He looked at Miller. 20 years, Mr. Miller. Is whoever you are protecting worth 20 years? 150 seconds. 2.5 minutes. Miller's hands started to shake slightly. He pressed them harder on the table to stop it. 160. The room's so quiet you could hear the ventilation system. 170. Thompson walked back to his table and picked up one final document. Mr. Miller, I also subpoenaed your personal cell phone records. Not your government phone. Your personal phone. He opened it. On March 10th. The night before the destruction. You made 3 phone calls. 9:47 p.m. to an unlisted number. 10:23 p.m. to a second unlisted number. 11:08 p.m. to a third unlisted number. 180. 3 full minutes. You were calling someone at 11 o'clock at night about document destruction. Who were you calling? 190 seconds. His attorney tried one final time. Mr. Chairman, my client invokes executive privilege on communications regarding internal. There is no privilege that protects destruction of subpoenaed evidence. Thompson did not even look at the attorney. None. 200 seconds. Mr. Miller, we just passed 3 minutes. 210. I'm going to count to 218, and then I am going to move to hold you in contempt of Congress. 215, 216, 217, 218. He stopped the timer. 3 minutes and 38 seconds. He turned to the committee. Mr. Chairman, the witness has refused to answer. I move to hold Stephen Miller in contempt of Congress for refusal to answer questions material to this investigation. I further move to refer this matter immediately to the Department of Justice for criminal investigation under 18 U.S.C. 1519. Both motions were seconded. Both passed unanimously, Republicans and Democrats. Everyone voted yes. Thompson gathered his documents. He looked at Miller. 218 seconds. That is the longest anyone has ever sat silent rather than answer a question in a congressional hearing. And your silence just told this committee exactly what we needed to know. He held up the email with Miller's signature. You ordered the destruction. You scheduled it for early morning. You made phone calls the night before. And now you are sitting here protecting whoever told you to do it. He paused. But here is what you do not know. Those 847 boxes you destroyed. We have them. The room erupted. Not with shouting. With the sharp collective gasp of people who just realized they had been watching a trap close. Thompson waited for silence. One of your staff members. Someone who worked in your office, someone who saw what was happening. Made copies. Complete copies of every document in every box before the destruction. And that person delivered those copies to this committee 3 days ago. He opened a banker's box on the table. 847 boxes worth of documents. All preserved. All cataloged. All ready to be entered into evidence. Miller's face went completely white. We have the border statistics you altered. The funding authorizations you hid. The contractor deals you covered up. All of it. You destroyed the originals. But we have everything. Thompson looked directly at Miller for the final time. You spent 218 seconds protecting whoever told you to destroy evidence. But it did not matter, because someone braver than you made sure the truth survived. What Thompson built in that room was a trap constructed over weeks before Miller sat down. The subpoena, the general counsel memo, the urgent email, the contractor's pickup log, the scheduling email with Miller's own deadline, the personal phone records, and the copies made by someone inside Miller's office who had watched what was happening and decided not to be part of it. Each document closed off an escape route. The subpoena proved the material was protected. The memo proved Miller had been explicitly warned. The urgent email proved he had ordered the destruction anyway. The scheduling email proved he had personally managed the timing. And the phone records proved someone had been consulted the night before whose identity Miller was still protecting after 218 seconds. The staff member who made the copies transforms this from obstruction into something more precise. That person was inside Miller's office. They saw the boxes, the urgent request, the timeline. And instead of participating, they copied everything and brought it to Congress 3 days before the hearing, without Miller knowing. While Miller sat convinced that 218 seconds was protecting something, Thompson had been sitting across from him for 40 minutes knowing the protection was an illusion. The trap had been ready before the hearing began. Thompson said someone braver than Miller made sure the truth survived. That sentence will stay in the record longer than the 218 seconds, because courage, in the end, is what accountability runs on.